Hungary's election result is reverberating far beyond Budapest, and nowhere is the impact being watched more closely than in Moscow. The defeat of Viktor Orbán removes one of Vladimir Putin's most reliable partners inside the European Union. For years, Orban played a unique role within Europe. While remaining a member of the EU and NATO, he consistently challenged Brussels on its Russia policy. He opposed or diluted sanctions, delayed consensus on Ukraine, and maintained strong energy ties with Moscow. In effect, Hungary under Orban often acted as a pressure point within the EU, complicating unified responses against the Kremlin. That leverage may now be gone. The rise of Péter Magyar signals a potential realignment. Magyar campaigned on restoring Hungary's relationship with the European Union and strengthening its Western alliances. While he has not framed his agenda as explicitly anti-Russia, his emphasis on rule of law, transparency, and EU cooperation suggests a departure from Orban's balancing act between Brussels and Moscow. For Putin, the consequences are both symbolic and strategic. Symbolically, Orban's Hungary stood as proof that a pro-Russia, nationalist model could coexist within the European project. It demonstrated that Moscow could retain influence even inside institutions designed to counter it. Orban's defeat weakens that narrative, particularly at a time when Russia is already under sustained pressure over Ukraine. Strategically, the loss is more tangible. Within the EU, decisions on sanctions, aid, and foreign policy often require unanimity. Orban's government frequently used that mechanism to slow or reshape collective action. Without Hungary acting as a consistent spoiler, the EU could find it easier to maintain a firmer, more unified stance against Russia. There are also economic implications. Hungary, under Orban, deepened its dependence on Russian energy, including long-term gas deals and nuclear cooperation. A shift in leadership could open the door to diversification, aligning Hungary more closely with broader European efforts to reduce reliance on Russian resources. However, the transition is unlikely to be immediate. Orban's political and institutional legacy remains deeply embedded. Key sectors of the state, from media to regulatory bodies, were reshaped during his 16-year rule. This means that even with electoral victory, Magyar may face structural constraints in rapidly altering Hungary's foreign policy direction. For Moscow, this creates a period of uncertainty rather than an immediate rupture. Still, the broader signal is clear. The removal of one of Russia's closest allies within the EU narrows the Kremlin's room for maneuver inside Europe. At a time when geopolitical alignments are hardening, Hungary's shift could tilt the balance, even if gradually. Orban's fall does not end Russia's influence in Europe, but it does mark the loss of a critical foothold.